Thank you very much, Alina. Thank you very much. And this evening has been so rich. And quite interestingly, my topic treats with the issue of leaving a legacy and the importance of leaving a legacy. And each person who presented this afternoon so far has touched on so many aspects of it because everything that we do is connected to that legacy. As a parent, it's something that I have given a lot of thought to. I'm sure many parents out there, as you have done it as well. But even in my professional capacity as a financial planner, I see what happens when not enough thought or not enough is put in place in terms of leaving a legacy for those that come behind. As I was preparing for this particular presentation, a particular quote caught my attention by a famous author. He said, "Choose well, your choice is brief and yet endless." Choose well, your choice is brief and yet endless. You see, every day as parents, we are making choices whether we are aware of it or not. These choices, deliberate or unintentional, good or bad, have a cumulative effect that leaves a mark on all those that come after us. Our choices affect others. Therefore, we bear a measure of responsibility that we simply cannot ignore. No choice is insignificant and no choice is unimportant. The sum total of all these choices inform the legacy that we leave behind. In this way, we can note here that a legacy is the sum total of all the choices we make that outlive us. In another way, whether you choose to or you choose not to, you're going to leave a legacy. Whatever you leave behind becomes that legacy. So why is this important? Why is this discussion important? I came across a very interesting statistic that said 70% of the wealth transfer failed to go on to the second generation. And by the third generation, 90% lose it. Should I maybe repeat that? 70% of the wealth doesn't transfer to the second generation and 90% lose it by the third. We see what's happening with our youths and we know and understand the world that they will have to navigate. These are the things that I ponder, and I'm sure that you probably would have pondered as well as a parent. So it's important to help preserve the wisdom and the best values of the past, and of course to guard against a cycle of debt and poverty. All right. Another thing that will help us understand the importance of this legacy is by looking at some definitions. One dictionary definition says, a legacy is a gift or property which someone leaves to another when they die, or a collection of values or valuables that we leave behind. Should I say that again? A collection of values or valuables that we leave behind. These values can be stories, experiences, some of the things that the presenters have been sharing today. Spiritual values, helping persons create their own narrative, giving persons vision. All these are the things that we pass on. Skills, sets that we have, we always pass those on. Also, valuables, which are the collection of intellectual, physical, and financial assets that you will leave for those that come after. These are passed on visually, orally, physically, or written. So as we ponder this, you realize that legacy is not only what you leave for people, but what you leave in people. Should I say that again? It's not only what you leave for your children and those that come behind, but the values that you leave in them. And these are seeds that you leave, right? That they can help, therefore reap in times to come. So it's definitely an investment into the future. So given this understanding of what a legacy is and why it is important, how can we go about achieving this? The first step is to become more intentional. Start with some sort of reflection. Reflect on your own purpose as a parent. It's certainly something that I know I do every day. What is your why? This drives everything else before you begin planning for legacy. Reflect on your purpose in the way you live. That's the legacy your kids, your children will inherit as they watch you live out your why. Here are some things that you'd probably want to consider as you reflect and become more intentional. Important questions for you to consider. What do you want your life to stand for? What are your strengths, your weaknesses? What skills do you need to develop and continue to develop? Are you being true to who you are? How do you want to be remembered by your family and friends and those that you influence? What kind of life would you want your family to live? Can you picture it? Can you visualize it? What will those beyond your circle of family and friends remember about you? What kind of impact would you want to have on your community? How will the world be a better place because you were in it and you were here? What contributions do you want to make in your particular field? You may be a nurse, a doctor, a carpenter, whatever it is. What contributions do you want to make in this area? What lessons would you like to pass on to the next generation? How can you serve more? So these are just some of the questions that you'd want to consider. And these questions help you to become more intentional about leaving this legacy, a living legacy behind. So let's look at some practical ways. I've made up a list here, and it's not an exhaustive list. So definitely there's more that you can add to it, but it gives you the breadth and the scope of the many things that you can do to leave a legacy. You can first start by writing a memoir, your own biography, right? Some people are doing this by recording a video now. You can do a scrapbook for them as well, or create a website that captures the family history and the things that are important to you that you want to pass on. You can write a legacy letter. In the Jewish tradition, they write what is called an ethical will. And in that ethical will, they write all the values and the things that they've learned in life to pass on to the next generation. You can start a blog. You can write a book. You can keep a journal. You can also leave a legacy through your career by doing excellent at what you do and adding to that body of knowledge. You can leave money to charities or any cause that's important to you. What about writing family recipes? We all know that aunt or uncle or grandmother that had this special recipe, all right, that you are using and you can pass on. You can serve as a good role model. Be a mentor. You can pass down a family heirloom. Maybe something handmade, something that you created yourself. Some craft that you can pass on. You can volunteer. You can start a business. You see what I'm saying? It's endless. You can start something new in your community, a recycle program, something to help the youths. You can do a scholarship. You can do something for the school, your primary school, your secondary school. You see what I'm saying? There are also skills that you have that you can pass on as well. So it's really, really pretty endless in terms of the range of things that you can do to leave a legacy. So as I wrap up, I just want to remind you that your choice is brief, but endless. That everything you do today, you're making a choice, whether to leave one that's intentional or one that the family may not necessarily benefit from. But you are making that choice today as a parent. So choose to be intentional and explore the range of ways that you can put in place to leave a legacy. And I like to end with a scripture. It says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Think about it for a while. Think about your life today with a massive inheritance, whether in kind or in cash or in value. So I encourage you as parents, as we move on, as we try to do the best for our children, to leave a living legacy that will live on for life. Thank you very much.
My name is Pamela Ramcharan, and I use the Excellence Journal. This is a wonderful book for parents, for children, for teens, and for young adults. And you know something? This book is a wonderful way by which parents can work together with their children when it comes to their schoolwork, and even also keeping on top and updated on their children's performance during the term. It is also a great opportunity for parents to interact with their children, spend more time with them as it comes to studying and even interacting with their children, discussing what is going on in the school environment. And the journal is actually a chance for the children to let the parents know the difficulties that they may be facing, and for the parents as well, in getting that information from their children, they can have great interactions with the teachers to find out strategies and ways in which they can assist the children to improve in their work. And one part that I love so much about it is that planning at the beginning of the school term. I think that is wonderful, because as for me, being a parent of children who are into the secondary school system, it is sometimes difficult for us to keep up with what our children are doing, particularly for those of us who have more than one child. And planning before the beginning of the term with this journal, ensuring that we know what the children have to do, the work that will be covered during the term. And I am just recommending this excellence journal for each and every parent out there. Whether you are a parent, whether you are a guardian for your children, you will not regret it.